Hi all, welcome to my lesson for Oasis Express by Takashi Ogawa. This was published by the Royal Conservatory of Music. So this piece is interesting because it has three distinct sections which all sound very different and hence will require different sorts of practice. So the first one is this alternation between the thumb and index and middle. Now, as you do that, you want to make sure that all those fingers come in. You're going to make a fist as you play. Also, notice the 3/4 time signature. When I hear people play this piece, my students will very often just play it like 1, 2, 1, 2, but it's more like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so really get the 3/4 feel of it. Don't clip off that extra beat. Now, that section's pretty straightforward. At the end, it's nice to have just a little bit of a ritardando, setting up the listener for the next section. And this next section, you're going to want to learn 2 measures at a time. It's really built in 2 measure ideas that go together, such as the first one. So just practice that and really master that. One of the tougher ones will be when you get to measure 17 and 18. And you have to play from G to that high B. It's a little bit of a reach there, so just be careful. It might take a little bit of practice. But like I said, learn this whole section 2 measures at a time, and only once you feel good about each one of those units, then you can put it all together and it'll be easier. Another really good thing you can do when you practice this section to help put it all together is to go 2 measures at a time and then just play the first note of the next measure. And then you go on. And that'll be especially important for measures 14 and 15. So going from here to that B. That's also a little bit of a stretch, and you want to make sure that you do that fluidly and gracefully. So working your way up to playing the whole section is the way to go. Start with 2 measures and slowly build on that. Now, when you get to the next section, it's going to be this arpeggio. And when you get to the 4th measure of that section, measure 28, don't forget that there's a C there. This section you're going to want to do a block plant, meaning that when you play the thumb, index and middle will come down on the strings together. They will both prepare at the same time. So you might want to practice just playing them both like this. It's almost like the first section of this piece. Once you're ready for that, then do the arpeggio, and just make sure also that as middle plays, thumb gets back to the string. So you're going to want to practice the arpeggio, just the right hand, and master that before you really move on. Also make sure that these 3 fingers move together as a unit, middle, ring, and pinky. Okay, so that's how that section goes. And then we get to the second ending. And this is measure 33. So instead of playing the first ending, once you repeat, you substitute that for the second ending, and it's just different because it has C sharp. Now, that's kind of a funky sound there, and it really sticks out to me every time I hear this. So what I like to do when I play it is really let the audience hear that by hanging on to it. So I'm going to start just a little bit before. So pause on that C sharp, almost like there's a fermata. And that really gets it in the listener's ears. They really hear how funky that is. And it sets up the ending in a really nice way, where you also have a C sharp and an F sharp. Okay, one last tip for this piece. And because it's in these 3 different sections, I also hear this mistake a lot. I hear performers take each section at a different speed, but you want to make sure that it's all the same speed. So practice going from each section, transition between the sections. So if I started at measure 7, let's say, those beats stay consistent. And I especially hear it when we get to the third section. So if I practice from measure 23, 2, 3, everyone takes this too fast. It's nice and slow. So just make sure that all the sections are the same speed so that it feels like one cohesive piece of music and not too disjointed. All right, that's it for my lesson on Oasis Express. I think you're ready to go, so thanks for watching.